Retiring at 55 sounds just like a dream. No more meetings, no more daily commute, just time to enjoy life on your terms. But is it actually realistic? Your rising cost of living, changes in pension legislation, and life expectancy just getting longer. Can the average person actually expect to retire at 55? Let's break it down. I'm Gareth Shears. I'm a chartered financial planner and a business owner based here in the UK. I've helped hundreds of business owners over the years plan their retirement. And today I'm going to walk you through what's required for someone to retire at 55 without the fear of running out of money. Because good retirement planning isn't just about a number, it's about building a life that you don't end up needing a holiday from. 55 has become a magic retirement number. And the main reason for that is because that is the earliest you can currently access your private pension from. Just because you can retire at 55 doesn't actually mean you should do, or if you can actually financially sustain it. And with the normal minimum retirement age moving to 57 in April 2028, the clock for you is ticking. Okay, the retirement living standards state that for a moderate couple retiring at the moment, you'd need 43,100 net per year. And that's actually in today's money. And also think about retiring at 55 could mean you need to sustain your income for 35 to 40 years. And that is longer than most of us have actually worked for. Just let that sink in. So you're not just saving for retirement, you're saving for financial independence. Decades of living costs and rising inflation, ideally without running out of money. Now here's where most people actually get caught out. You can't actually claim your state pension until you're 67. So that, in essence, leaves a 12-year gap which needs to be filled with pensions, savings and other investments. And remember, that doesn't just need to cover the basics. That needs to cover holidays, hobbies and any other flexible things that you may want to do in retirement. A solid rule of thumb is you need 25 times annual spending to sustain in retirement. So want that 40k a year, which we talked about from the living standards, you're going to need to have about £1 million in assets in order to draw income from. Now, so many of us focus on the age we want to retire rather than actually what income we're going to need to sustain that retirement. Now, some also think that they won't actually spend that much in retirement. And I've heard people think they'll spend half of what they do. But in reality, what we're going to probably spend in retirement, and we've seen this from clients, is around about the same as what we're spending now, minus any major debt. So if we take off our mortgage, maybe any loans or credit cards, that's roughly what we're going to be spending, maybe a little bit more in the early years to cover those long-haul cruises and flights that you want to do. And also others, forget about the tax. That £1 million we talked about, some of that's going to be taxed, especially if it's in pensions. 25% of it may be tax-free, but then the remaining 75% is going to be taxed at your marginal rate. So we have to take into account tax. Now, without a plan, it's easy to become asset-rich and actually income-poor. Now, if you really are serious about retiring at 55, these are some of the things you've got to take into account when making a plan. Having money in easy accessible ISAs, for example, that's for your early withdrawals before your state pension kicks in or other pensions. Now, you may want to defer your pensions till a little bit later on to take account for any tax liabilities that may come from that. And we'd always suggest having a cash buffer for 1 to 2 years worth of annual expenditure, just to ensure that when the markets are down or volatile, you don't have to rely on accessing the markets while they're down. And from an investment growth point of view, ideally we're going to need to have a minimum of 4 to 5% return in order just to beat inflation. And it could be actually we have to make a plan flexibly to retire. It could be part-time work, reduced hours, or maybe a side hustle that just keeps you going through retirement to ensure that actually we're not relying fully on savings and pensions. It's not about having one magic investment product. It could be about sequencing your assets and making a plan to use them. Now, retiring at 55 might not actually be for everyone, and here are some of the red flags you need to be mindful of. Number 1, no idea what retirement will actually cost you. Number 2, heavily reliant on state pension. Number 3, underestimating inflation, the silent assassin that everyone misses out on. Number 4, no backup plan if the markets dip and you don't want to be drawing from a downward turning market. Number 5, taking tax-free cash all in one lump sum and spending it on something which isn't going to help you with income through retirement. Remember, retiring without a plan is just wishful thinking. So finally, can you actually retire at 55? Yes, you can, but not without a plan and actually knowing your numbers. And that means knowing what you want in life when you retire, how much it's actually going to cost you, and how to structure your savings and investments along the way to make it as smooth as possible. Retiring at 55 isn't about luck, it's about clarity, confidence, and a very good financial plan. If you want to know whether you can actually retire early, I've helped hundreds of clients retire over the last 18 years by running the numbers and setting out a proper financial plan. Now you can click a link in the description below to join my free community or book a call with me to discuss your own personal plan. Thanks for watching, make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.